There is a moment that almost nobody teaches you how to live. It is that small space between a situation and your response. Someone asks you something. An opportunity appears. You feel tired. You feel lonely. You feel pressure. In that space, you decide. Yes or no. Stay or leave. Speak or stay silent. Study or scroll. Your life is not only what happens to you. It is the sum of these small, repeated decisions. Before we go deeper, if you enjoy content that helps you improve your English and at the same time helps you understand your mind, your habits, and your life more clearly, take a moment to subscribe to the channel. It is a small action, but it supports this project and helps this kind of message reach more people who might need it. Today's topic is how to make better decisions, not perfect decisions. Not magical decisions that guarantee you will never suffer, but wiser decisions. Decisions that respect your future self. Decisions that respect your values. Decisions that you can look at later and think, even if it was hard, that was a good choice for me. Let us start with an honest observation. Most people think they make decisions with logic. But many decisions are made with emotion and later decorated with logic. You feel afraid, so you say no. You feel lonely, so you say yes. You feel insecure, so you avoid. You feel angry, so you attack. Then, afterwards, you create a story to justify. It was not the right time. They are not trustworthy. I am too busy. I am just being realistic. The story may have some truth, but the real driver was emotion. This is not a crime. We are humans, not robots. But if you want to make better decisions, you need to learn to see your emotions without letting them drive the car alone. Especially in areas like your English, your work, your relationships, where small decisions repeated every day create a very big difference. Let us look at three forces that often distort your decisions: fear, short-term comfort, and confusion. First, fear. Fear is not only terror, it can be subtle. Fear of rejection, fear of looking stupid, fear of disappointing people, fear of choosing wrong. Imagine you receive an invitation. Do you want to join this English meeting? Do you want to present this project? Do you want to try this new role? You feel a mix: curiosity, but also anxiety. In that moment, fear whispers. If you say yes, you might fail. You might feel ashamed. People might see your limits. So you say, "No, thank you. I do not have time. Maybe later." On the surface, it sounds reasonable. Inside, it was fear. The problem is, each time you let fear make the decision, you teach your brain a lesson. Fear is the leader here. Future decisions become more and more controlled by that same pattern. To make better decisions, you do not need to become fearless. You need to become more honest about when fear is speaking and ask, is this fear protecting me from real danger or just protecting me from discomfort? If it is real danger, thank the fear. If it is only discomfort, you can say, thank you, but you are not the final voice in this decision. This alone already changes many choices around English. Second force, short-term comfort. Imagine you are about to study. Your plan was to do 20 minutes of English. Suddenly, your phone lights up, or your brain remembers a series, or you think, I am tired. I deserve to relax. You are not wrong. You do deserve rest. But here is the trap. Your brain loves the easiest reward. Watch something familiar, scroll, eat, avoid. These options give you a quick sense of pleasure. Your brain registers, this is good. Let us do this again. So when you decide in that moment, you are not asking, what is the best decision for my week, for my future, for the life I want? You are asking, what will feel better in the next 5 minutes? And the answer is almost always the easier thing. Better decisions require a different question. Will I be grateful for this choice in a few hours, not only in a few minutes? If you ask, will I be grateful for 20 minutes of English tonight? The answer is often yes. If you ask, will I be grateful for scrolling for one more hour? The answer is usually no. Short-term comfort is not evil, but if it becomes your main guide, you build a comfortable present and a frustrating future. Now the third force, confusion. Sometimes you do not act not because you are lazy, but because you feel overwhelmed. Too many options, too much information, too many shoulds. With English, for example, you see videos, courses, methods, techniques, shadowing, flashcards, grammar, conversation, podcasts. Your mind says, I want to do everything, so I will choose nothing. Confusion becomes an excuse to stay still. Better decisions are often simpler than we think. You do not need the perfect method. You need a good enough method that you actually follow. Confusion asks, what is the perfect way? Wisdom asks, what is a simple next step I can start today? Now that we saw these three forces, how do we actually make better decisions? I want to give you a simple framework, not rules, but questions. Questions you can carry with you. The first question is, what problem am I really trying to solve with this decision? Many times, we think we are solving one thing, but we are actually solving another. Imagine you are invited to an English call. You say no. You tell yourself, I am protecting my time. But maybe deep inside, you are not solving a time problem. You are solving an anxiety problem. The real problem you are trying to avoid is not busy schedule. It is feeling nervous. When you see the real problem, you can ask, is this the best way to deal with it? Avoiding may reduce your anxiety today, but it increases your anxiety tomorrow because you miss practice, you miss evidence that you can handle it. In other words, your decision solves a short-term emotion, but creates a long-term limitation. Good decisions try to solve both. They respect how you feel now, but they also respect who you want to be later. Second question. If I repeat this decision for 1 year, where will it take me? Imagine the decision is small. Today, I will not practice English. Today, I will stay in this job I hate and do nothing about it. Today, I will say yes to something I do not want, just to avoid disappointing someone. Okay, now imagine you repeat that not one time, but 100 times. The path becomes clear. No practice for a year, no movement for a year, no honest no for a year. Where does that lead? Most people only look at the decision for today. Better decisions look at the trajectory. You do not need to be perfect. You just need to notice when a decision is building a path you do not want. Third question. What would my wiser self suggest here? Not your ideal, perfect, imaginary version that never fails. Your wiser self. Maybe an older you. Maybe a calmer you. Imagine you could step outside of yourself for a moment and look at the situation from the outside. What advice would you give a friend in the same position? We are often much wiser with other people than with ourselves. With a friend, you say, I know you are afraid, but this opportunity aligns with your values. Try. With yourself, you say, run, hide, too risky. When you ask, what would my wiser self suggest? You invite that calmer perspective into your own decision. Sometimes the answer will not be easy. It might say, you need to have that uncomfortable conversation. You need to stop promising what you do not do. You need to admit that this path no longer fits. But it is more honest. Now let us connect this directly to your English and your growth. Many people treat decisions about English as something separate from life, as if deciding to study or not study was a small detail. But each time you decide to face a little discomfort for the sake of growth, you are not only improving English, you are training your decision muscle. You are proving to yourself, I can choose long-term benefit over short-term comfort. That same muscle helps you in relationships, health, money, everything. For example, you are invited to write one comment in English under a video. Your mind says, you might make mistakes, people might see. Do not do it. The easier decision is no. The better decision might be, yes, I will write one sentence, even if it is not perfect. This is not about a comment. It is about who is in charge, fear or intention. Now, another important piece. Some people do not make decisions because they are waiting for certainty. They think, I will decide when I am 100% sure. But in many important areas, you will never have 100%. You can have enough information. You can have good intuition. You can have some experience. But there will always be risk. Waiting for total certainty is a way of never moving. Making better decisions does not mean eliminating uncertainty. It means learning to act with limited information. With English, you might think, I will start using my English when I am sure I will not forget words. That day never comes. The only way to become sure is to speak while you are not sure. So your decision cannot be, I decide to speak when I feel ready. It needs to be, I decide to speak because that is how I become ready. There is also the fear of regret. What if I choose this course and later I see a better one? What if I stay in this country and later I think another place would be better? What if I choose this person, this job, this path, and later I want something else? Here is something freeing. You will regret some things. This is part of being human. You cannot build a life where you never look back and think, I would do that differently today. Better decisions are not those that remove all future regret. They are those that you can respect even if the result was not perfect. You can say, at that moment, with what I knew, with who I was, it made sense to choose this. Regret becomes softer. It becomes a teacher, not a prison. Now let us talk about another trap, making decisions only to please other people. You say yes because you do not want to disappoint. You choose a path because it looks respectable. You hide parts of yourself because you fear judgment. Of course, we live in relation with others. We cannot pretend other people do not exist. But if all your decisions are guided by external approval, you risk building a life that looks good on the outside and feels empty inside. A simple question that can help. If nobody was watching or judging, would I still choose this? If the answer is yes, you are aligned. If the answer is no, It is a sign that you are sacrificing too much of your truth. Sometimes you will still choose to do something for others. That can be beautiful. But do it from a conscious place, not automatically, not always against yourself. Let us also touch on impulsive decisions. You are angry. You send the message. You quit. You shout. You delete. You cut contact. Later, when the emotion calms down, you think, why did I do that? A useful rule for better decisions is, do not make big decisions in the peak of strong emotion. If you are very angry, very sad, very afraid, very excited, try to wait. Even 10 minutes. Even one night. In that pause, you can ask again, what problem am I really trying to solve? Sometimes you will still make the same choice, but it'll be less about explosion and more about clarity. Now let us bring this to a very practical, almost technical level. There are two types of decisions. One is one-time big decision. Choosing a country. Ending a relationship. Starting a degree. The other is small repeated decisions. Study or not today. Speak or stay silent. Sleep later or go to bed. Eat this or that. We love to focus on big decisions, but your life is more shaped by the small ones. Better decisions start in the small. For example, you can create a simple rule for yourself. If I have the chance to use English in a real situation, I say at least one sentence. Not a perfect conversation. One sentence. This removes some of the decision load. You do not need to negotiate with your fear every time. The decision is already made. You also can decide, I will plan my English time for tomorrow the night before, not in the moment when I am tired. Future you will be grateful. Because when you are tired, your brain will always choose the easiest option. Planning is a way of deciding in advance from a clearer state. Another helpful idea. Sometimes you do not know what to choose because you do not know what you value most in that context. For example, with English, do you value speed or depth? Do you value perfection or communication? Do you value comfort or growth? If you value communication more than perfection, then the better decision in a conversation is to speak with mistakes, not to stay silent waiting for the perfect sentence. If you value growth more than comfort, then the better decision is to choose the slightly harder option, not the easiest one every time. Clarity of values makes decisions lighter. Without values, every choice feels random. Before we finish, let us do a small inner exercise. Think of one decision that is present in your life right now. It can be about English, about work, about a relationship, about your health. Ask yourself gently, 1. What problem am I really trying to solve with this decision? 2. If I repeat this decision for a year, where does it take me? 3. What would my wiser self suggest here? You may not get a perfect, clear answer, but you will probably see something you were not seeing. Maybe you realize you are avoiding a feeling. Maybe you see that your choice today does not match the life you say you want. From there, you can adjust. You do not need to turn your life upside down in one day. Better decisions are built by small corrections, like a plane that constantly adjusts its route, a little to the left, a little to the right, until it arrives. When this audio ends, you will continue to make many decisions. What to watch, what to eat, what to say, whether to practice your English or not. You will not get all of them right. Nobody does. But if you start to pay attention to that small space between what happens and what you do, and you fill that space with a little more honesty, a little more future vision, a little more self-respect, your decisions will change. And slowly, so will your life.